How's it going, guys? Stay Weird 1993 here, or of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, it's Stay Weird 1993 vlogs. Welcome back to some glorious Halo content. I can't get enough at the moment of Halo 3. It's ridiculous. I'm feeling like I'm 14 all over again, so of course I'm going to do it. I'm joined by Lord Arbiter again. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi. So, just yeah. How's it been? How's your Sunday been? Have you been up to much today?
Uh, played a bit of Halo on the Xbox. Played a bit of Command and Conquer Remastered. Streamed some MetWay Online.
Nice, nice, nice.
Hmm.
uh, I've just had one of them days today where I'm just like, well, because I've got to go back to work tomorrow, so you're just like, ugh. Yeah, anyway, but I'm not going to
Oh
go into the
yeah,
office, thank God, because that would fill me with nerves, because I've got to get, what, 4 buses in a
yeah,
day? Like, 2 buses there, 2 buses back. Which
yeah,
is fine, but when there's a coronavirus outbreak, I'm a little bit nervous.
yeah.
Um, but then anyway, so it's like, um, I went for a little bit of a stroll today because I live so near to Meadowhall. We just walked down to Meadowhall and then took the walked down the nature paths back. We didn't go in. We didn't.
Yeah,
We literally just walked, sort of did the nature walks around Winkerbank,
yeah,
and we were on our. Well, we just thought it's sunny out. The kids need some sunlight. I hate the sun myself, but the kids. It's
yeah,
like I'm basically a vampire at this point. Like I hiss when I see natural light, but at the same time, the kids deserve some sunlight. You know what I mean? It's not like their fault.
yeah,
It's not their fault that their dad hates the sun.
yeah. Yeah, I had when I was streaming, I had like 5 viewers.
I suppose the handy thing with MechWarrior Online is it's quite a niche community, so you are going to get like a lot of people tuning in.
Yeah, two of them were Mr. Low and Mammy.
That's cool though, the fact that they tuned in.
Yeah, they stuck through the entire stream.
That's amazing. I mean, I really liked it last night when we had a bunch of people in because I always think it's a little bit more fun when more people come and watch.
Yeah, they
Um,
stuck through the entire stream. The Mandalorian,
yeah.
who I know from another Twitch streamer called Freaking Fuzz.
Oh, cool. You see,
Um,
what I really want to do is I need to spend more time on Twitch because I want to get involved in more communities. Not
yeah,
just not just for the sake of getting more viewers, but for the sake of like if they've got really cool streams that I can check out as well. Because
yeah,
I follow a lot of the big names, so like Halo, like the Halo ones, like Halo Follower, Hidden Xperia, all that sort of stuff. I follow that.
yeah,
I follow them on Twitch. I follow like some of the there's a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. There's
yeah,
Warcraft guy called Bajira. There's and stuff like that. You know, a lot of
yeah.
the big names. It's like if you like, I follow a lot of the. I suppose you could compare them to like the ninja of
Yeah.
Warcraft. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then there were like two other guys who were just in and out.
Well,
Other people who were just in and out.
that's still pretty cool. Like you know,
But I managed to keep up at 5 viewers
that's really good. I mean,
through
my view.
most of the entire stream.
See, my
So
viewers fluctuate between like 1 and like I've had like nearly 20. You know what I mean? There's literally
yeah,
no middle ground at all. It's just like I either get no one or I get a bunch of people. Like, it's like I either get like 1 or nearly 20
yeah,
viewers. You know what I mean? Like it
yeah,
seems it's hard for me to gauge when because sometimes I stream earlier and no one comes in, and then sometimes I
yeah,
stream later and no one comes in, and then
yeah, yeah,
sometimes I stream when I'm not even meant to on my schedule, and then a bunch of people tune in. I'm like, hang on a minute, guys, I have a stream schedule for a reason. But then
yeah,
at the same time, it's about catching people because if people come and watch you once, right?
yeah,
And they follow you. They're like when they go, oh, this person's streaming. I'm not doing anything. I'll come and watch this guy. You know.
yeah,
Um, you see, the reason I'm not streaming EDO Pro is just because I'm enjoying Halo 3 too much right now. So I'm having far too much fun with this. But give it a couple of days and I'll be doing Edo Pro streams again, no doubt.
When's a couple of days though, because I don't think on Wednesday I'll be down on the brothers for a week.
It'll be before then, so it'll be whenever I stream next. I'm
Ah,
thinking about doing Edo Pro. So I don't know
so
whether that's going
okay.
to be tomorrow or Tuesday because of streaming tonight. I just need to work
Yeah,
out when it's best because I don't know. I think I'm busy Wednesday night actually. I think Chloe's going for a meal with people from work because they've not seen each other.
yeah,
So it's going to be like, well, again, it's when I can. So I don't think I think Wednesday night. I can't remember if I've got the kids or whether her brother's having the kids. It'd be nice if I've not because I don't want the kids, but it's like it'd be nice for if she's not, then there's like
Yeah.
I'm working on I've got a jacket an old jacket that I'm upcycling.
Yeah.
By which I mean I'm covering it in sort of studs and band patches at the minute,
Yeah.
and I've only just started studding it. That's how far I've got. I've studded some of the collar. I still need to cut the sleeves off, and I need to buy some iron-on patches. But I don't get paid until next Monday. So theoretically, I can afford it. But like at the same time, it's like I'm one of them people. I don't like to have nothing in my bank account because if something unexpected happens in the next week, like I don't know, say we have to call somebody out because the washing machine breaks or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to put that on my credit card. I mean, I have one for emergencies because that's the point. You know, like it's just there for if I desperately need money for something, i.e.,
Yeah.
shopping, like food shopping. Say we've had expenses, and then my food shopping is like I can't afford it. It's like, well, that's when you use a credit card because I avoid it, but it's like it's basically for if something badly goes wrong, and I don't have enough money because it's unplanned. That's what I use it for. For instance, when I went to see a band, this is going back a while when I first got it, I got stranded in Leeds because my train home got cancelled.
We had a similar thing last time. Me and my brother had a similar thing when we were coming back last time I went to see Miku.
Oh, did your train get cancelled?
No. What happened was the most direct route back to Sheffield
Yeah.
was having rail works done.
Uh,
So we was with the redirected train to coach to so the suggested route was.
Yeah.
If it weren't for my brother being there, we would have that route would have been taken.
unless
So the route
yeah.
plan was train, coach, to another train station in the middle of nowhere.
Ugh.
To train to I can't even remember where.
If you're coming from
And then,
down south,
and,
it's tricky.
and then the train to Sheffield.
God.
But luckily enough, there was a train straight through to Meadowhall.
Well, that's all right.
From that very stop in the middle of nowhere. So we only did it with a train, coach, and a train.
See, that's handy. Like when I came back from Edinburgh with Chloe, not the last time, the time before, when I proposed. So it'll be 2 years ago in October.
Oh yeah.
Basically, we had a problem when we got back. We got to Doncaster because what we did was it's cheaper for some reason. Rather than getting a train direct from Sheffield to Edinburgh, it was cheaper for us to get on a train from Meadowhall, which is basically where we live, to Doncaster, and then get off at Doncaster and go from there to Edinburgh. Don't ask me why, but it was about £20 cheaper.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay. But we got to Doncaster and they went, yeah, by the way, the rails are out of commission between here and Sheffield, so you're getting on a coach, but we don't know where the coaches are going from. So I was like, okay. Well, it'd be nice to know.
Yeah. And you know where we had to go on this coach?
Yeah.
Was somewhere we never heard of.
God.
It was somewhere we never heard of. We had to get off the train, get onto a coach, to get the coach to a train station in the middle of literally nowhere.
It's horrible because when I got stranded in Leeds, basically all I did was pay for a hotel and then at 5 a.m. the next morning. So we paid for a hotel for like 4 hours basically. But at 5 a.m. we got the train direct through to Sheffield, which was absolutely fine. But if I hadn't had a credit card, I would have been literally on the streets of Leeds all night. And it's like when I went to Nottingham with Chloe last November to go and see Ghost, which is like our favourite band. Our train back, and it said this, it was at 12:30 a.m., right? The last train back was midnight. We booked our return tickets. Ghost finished at 11:30. The train station is a 10-minute walk away. We stopped at the pub next to the train station and had a drink. Bearing in
Yeah.
mind, we got to the train station 15 minutes before the train was due to leave.
Yes.
We got told it had already left.
Okay.
But my rail ticket says 12:30.
Yeah.
So I was stuck in Nottingham with Chloe. So
Yeah.
we literally, we were going to get a hotel, but then I got a phone call and my mum drove from Sheffield to Nottingham to come and pick us up.
Yeah.
We got home at like 4 a.m.
Wow.
I felt really bad, but at the same time, it's like it definitely wasn't our fault because, we called the train company and they were like, yeah, it left early due to something or other, basically some excuse. And I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
fine, but I want my money back for my return ticket because it was like £15 each way, which isn't bad. But,
Yeah.
I was like, well, can I have my 30 quid back that I paid for 2 tickets? You know what I mean? And they were like, well, it's just due to unforeseen circumstances. I went, no. I can't get home. I need that money to get home because I'm going to give. I feel extremely guilty about this, so I'm giving my mum the petrol money back. Because I'm like, my mum's got work in the morning, but she's come to pick us up, and that's just because luckily she's a nice enough person. We could have quite easily, to be fair, what we'd have done is my friends were going to a ghost after party in Nottingham at a place called Pitcher and Pendulum, which is like a rock bar.
Okay.
It's a really nice rock bar. It's basically it looks like a gothic castle inside, like Dracula's castle inside. It's super cool.
Yeah.
And my backup plan was basically if we can't get our way home, we're gonna go and party with them all night and then just wait at the train station for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But then that means getting home while probably still drunk at that point if we had to do that. It's like, how about you just don't drink? It's like, it's like, have you met me? Like, socially awkward, but life and soul of the party once I've been handed a beer.
But yeah, like when I went to see Miku the last time, it was in
Probably London, right?
it was in London, but it was in a really bad, terrible part of London.
Was it a big arena?
It was the O2 Arena.
Oh, the Academy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
in Brooks or something.
Is it Brixton?
Brixton, that's the one.
Yeah, I've seen Black Veil Brides in Brixton.
Terrible area.
Not great, but I've been to
like,
Brixton. Yeah.
Oh, so the nearest hotel we could get, to the concert
Yeah.
was dreadful.
It was probably like a rundown crack den, to be fair, if it's Brixton.
No, it was the downstairs. It was a gym. It was a fitness area like a gym.
Okay.
And the hotel upstairs. They didn't have their own towels, their own hand wash, no nothing.
So it was just a room.
And the heating were broken, so it was always on full blast.
You see, luckily the hotel I got in Leeds, that was actually a pretty nice hotel. It was because it was the one right next to the train station. They kind of have to make it nice for people who are overnight staying. But I remember being so nervous because it was the first time I'd ever been stranded anywhere.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, "Okay, calm down." Bearing in mind that I'd gone to this concert on and for my birthday to see Black Veil Brides in Leeds.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude. But at the same time, it was like, in my eyes, worth it because the concert was so good.
Yeah. Oh, the Miku concert were fantastic. It's just the hotel and the trip home were dreadful.
Yeah, it's like, this is the thing. It's like I'm going to Nottingham again next March to see one of my favourite bands called Reckless Love. They're an 80s style glam band. They're a bit like Steel Panther, but more like, they're kind of that kind of 80s rock. And I absolutely love them, and I've met the band so many times. It's like it's got to the point where, the guitarist follows me on Instagram, and he's seen me at like all their concerts and stuff. It's like, so he doesn't know me by first name basis. He's like, oh yeah, I know this guy. He's been at like 5 meet and greets, and it's like he's like basically a fanboy at this point. But at the same time,
I wish I could meet Miku, but she's a hologram.
I feel like if you met Miku, you'd be meeting the person who controls her, like with the
Oh yeah,
mocap.
yeah, it would be.
Would you like to meet this elderly Japanese man who dances like an anime girl? It's like this is not. When someone said I was
It
meeting,
wouldn't be it wouldn't be the strangest thing I've seen.
it'd be like me. It's like it'd be the most surreal thing. It's like you want to meet Miku. Wait, you're not Miku. No, but they hire me to dance as her. You see, I think holograms is interesting because I think there's a lot of musicians they could bring. They could do. Oh, I know for a fact that they did like in America. You know, because they did a Tupac concert where Tupac was a hologram.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why don't we do that more, like with Elvis Presley and like I don't know, Elvis Presley, Prince, Michael Jackson, David Bowie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because yeah, sure. It's like if I'd have been alive to see like Queen live, I would like. I have been alive to see Queen live because I saw them with Adam Lambert. But you know, I'd love to have seen Freddie Mercury. I mean, don't get me wrong. The new frontman of Queen, Adam Lambert, he does a phenomenal job. Like he's incredible. He's like he won like American Idol or something, or came second in American Idol or something. I watched a documentary about how they brought Queen back to life with him.
Alright.
Like he was on American Idol and he just got this crazy vocal range, and they were like, and then basically he sang a Queen song and they had the guitarist from Queen Brian come on, and they were like, and he was like, apparently just when they were playing it with him, they were like, this feels like we're playing with Freddie in a way, you know what I mean? It's like there was that same energy. So they were like, we need to ask him to, we need to see if he'd be willing to do Queen, because that and they did, and it's like, in a way, what makes me glad about that is they brought Queen back in its own way. Like he doesn't try and be Freddie, you know, he's not like a Freddie impersonator. He's like he's very much his own singer, but he still brings the feeling of Queen to it, which is what I like. It's like Skid Row, another one of my favourite bands of all time. 80s band.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't heard of that. That's another one I've never heard of.
It's just like, unless you're into 80s glam rock, you won't know who Skid Row are. It's like, if you heard one of their songs, you'll have probably heard it at some point in your life. Like, they've got a couple of famous ones, like 18 to Life, Youth Gone Wild, and one, there's some of the more famous ones, and one called I Remember You.
Never heard of
it's like, that's what I mean, like, you wouldn't have heard of them by name. Oh, I've just betrayed someone by mistake. Don't run into the lift when I've chucked a grenade into it, then you pleb. But it's but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's one of those things where people go, oh, I've heard this song before. Do you know when you hear them? Like, they're one of those bands where unless you're a fan of the band, you won't know their name, but then you'll go, oh yeah, this song, you know.
So let me explain. I'm not explaining this. I'm talking. I'm not explaining what I've been seeing on Twitch.
What?
Your name.
Yeah.
So it doesn't say you. It doesn't say you've been streaming. You know, on live channels.
Yeah.
But it says online friends. It just keeps saying stay real 1993 online streaming, but doesn't say streaming anything.
Yeah, and
I've
checked that. Yeah, and it's like, I checked my Twitch dashboard and it doesn't say I'm live and it doesn't say I've been live.
Yeah, and then you click it and it doesn't say you're live at all, and it says you're offline when you click it, but it says you're streaming before you click it.
It could be a glitch or an OBS glitch. But the thing is, I've been checking it to make sure my account's okay, and obviously it is, because there's been no suspicious activity, because it tells me if I've been logged in on a different device, I get told. Maybe it's because I keep my Twitch logged in on my phone, that it just says I'm online.
I keep my Twitch logged in, and mine doesn't. I don't think mine says it.
I think it's a bug, because, I mean, right now I can see I'm live, and it says it on my Twitch and stuff, but then, like, you know when you said...
But once you go off, it'll still say you're streaming, but not streaming anything.
That is really bizarre, because like I checked, you know, as soon as you told me, I checked, and on my Twitch mobile it said I wasn't live. It didn't say anything about that. I don't know.
That is odd.
I'll keep an eye on it, because if so, what I'll do is I'll just erase my settings from OBS and then just re-input everything to make sure there's not a glitch. If it happens like a handful of times and it's not just like a bug. Which it could be, but you never know. Maybe it's because I lost connection midstream last time and it just threw it off. But we'll see. Anyway, but yeah, it's interesting. I'm one of the people. This year has been so difficult because I was supposed to go see. You'll have heard of the band My Chemical Romance, I take it, or if you've not listened to them, you'll have heard the name.
Yeah, I think my brother listens to him.
I'm a huge My Chem fan, and they broke up 11 years ago, and they got back together end of last year.
Yeah.
And then they were doing a world tour this summer.
Alright.
I was supposed to see them in June. I paid £200 for 2 tickets in total, because they're playing at Milton Keynes Stadium, where Rammstein tend to play.
Yeah.
And luckily they've moved the concert to next year. I was like, don't tell me they've got the reunion finally, and then it's been destroyed. Like, it's like, please don't tell me, Mike. It's like, but then they've been like, look, we're really sorry. There's been a delay. Next year we'll be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad about that, because My Chemical Romance are a band that I would love to see live and never got a chance.
Yeah.
Just because I couldn't for whatever reason at the time. I think I was probably working when their last ever show was, or maybe I was doing my exams or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I couldn't see them on their last tour, and I was so gutted because I was like, oh my god, My Chemical Romance, you know. I've got a My Chemical Romance tattoo. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
And I absolutely love that band, and I listen to them probably at least once a day. Like, you know, their songs are always on my like Spotify. And the thing is, I was so upset because I was like, finally, this summer's shaping up to be epic. There's going to be a Rammstein concert. There's going to be a My Chem concert. Then good old coronavirus.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
love it.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a music festival called Hard Rock Hell Sleaze. But that is happening at the end of August, and it's not been cancelled yet. So I'm thinking that they've not cancelled it because they think, well, if lockdown gets lifted and they cancel it, then people have wasted their tickets. But my theory is, I mean, it might get to like 2 weeks before and they might have to, but it might still go ahead. You never know. It's like, I don't know the answer to that because I don't work in government, so I don't know what the lockdown schedule is. I think that with the fact that they're reopening things, I've got a feeling that it might still happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I doubt it, but it could. It's not impossible for like them to go, you know, because they might say you have to wear a face mask at the concert.
Oh yeah.
Which is fine, because the only time you probably won't have to wear a face mask, I imagine, is if you go to the bar and buy a drink. But you probably have to go and drink that in like a designated area.
Yeah, like a designated room where only people with drink can go.
What I think they'll do is they'll probably say if you've got a drink, you have to drink it in the smoking area, which is outdoors.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because I tended to only go and get a drink. I used to tend to go for a smoke and have a drink in between bands.
Alright.
So I'm not really bothered when the band's on stage. It's more like, if I want a beer, don't get me wrong, because it's a 2-day festival. It's not a music festival if you're not hammered by noon. The way I see it, it's like as well. Like, I was gutted because this year, me and Chloe were gonna try and get to Download this year.
Oh, my brother's been to that.
I've been once, 2013 or 14. I really can't remember. But it was like I went to Download and it was so good. It was a really good lineup, and I'd like to go back. A group of my friends always go to Download, so I would, even if Chloe doesn't want to go, I always have a group of people I would be able to go with.
Isn't there like a lot of fighting that tends to go on at them Download concerts or something like that?
No, there's mosh pits. There's mosh pits, but that's normal at a rock show. It's like the craziest mosh pit I've ever seen was at a Slipknot show.
Yeah.
And the most violent mosh pit I've ever been to was when I went to go see a band called Gunnishment. They're like a really, really heavy band.
Yeah.
Their genre of music is called hardcore or beatdown, they call it sometimes. Which a lot their mosh pits are something else. That's like violence, basically.
Yeah.
But the show was good. but the band was good. Um, it's like
I really, yeah, like the Miku concerts I go to every 2 years are like come like 2 hours.
I mean, most headliner bands are about 2 hours. Did they have any support acts at Miku concerts or?
They have they've Ray, they have the other Vocaloids there, yeah.
Oh, they do. I was gonna say
Both
how
of
does
the Vocaloids, it's not just Miko, she's just the main star of the show.
that's what I was worried, like not worried about, but concerned about because I'm like, if you go to see a Vocaloid concert, right?
Yeah.
The support acts. I was like, what happens there? And it's like, oh, they just get the other Vocaloids.
Yeah, but it's called Miko Expo for a reason.
I mean, that's fair enough. Like, it works. But it's like, every band that you see will have a support act or two support. It's usually two support acts per band.
Yeah.
Every concert I've been to where there's been a headlining band, there's been two support acts that go on before.
Yeah.
It's like when I went to see Ghost, there was Tribulations and a band called All Them Witches that went on before, who were both amazing. I mean, I became a Tribulations fan after seeing them with Ghost. I've bought like all their albums. It's like the only reason I got into Black Veil Brides is because I saw them support another band. Early on in their career, I saw them support a band called Murder Dolls, which they're like an older band, like an older rock band. But Black Veil Brides, I went to see them at Corporation. I must have only been like 15 or 16, if that.
Yeah.
And I remember because I went to see Murder Dolls, and I was like, "Who are these guys? Like, these guys are cool." And then I was obsessed. And then I went to go see them live a lot. And then through them, I discovered a band called Reckless Love, which is the one I was talking about. So this is what I like about. I'm really glad that bands have support acts because it allows you to discover bands you probably you haven't heard of probably.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, sometimes it's like when I went to see. There's some bands like when you go and see them, they're supported by other famous bands.
Yeah.
Like when I went to see Papa Roach, they were supported by Medina Lake, Tonight Alive, Heaven's Basement, and Fearless Vampire Killers at an all-day thing.
Yeah.
So I knew who all of those bands were because they were quite popular.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to go and see. It's like if I'd have been to see Metallica not last year, but the year before, which I was going to, but I didn't. They would have been supported by Ghost. Ghost was supporting Metallica. Which is quite good. Like Ghost and Metallica in one concert ticket, it'd be like it's like I mean it didn't go ahead because of the coronavirus, but Def Leppard and Whitesnake were touring together, which are two of my favorite 80s bands, and I really wanted to go see them, but shit happens. I was gonna say Halo Infinite's gameplays on Wednesday or Thursday this week.
23rd.
That'll be so Thursday.
I think so.
That's cool. I can't wait to see it. I'm curious what they're gonna do. Like, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with it. What I want to see from that gameplay is I want to see how the gunplay looks. What if any armor abilities have been retained? What are they? I mean, there's a couple that can stay. If you ask me, like sprint's fine. There's nothing wrong with sprint. I mean, it just makes sense. Like, why can't you run faster than walking? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a super soldier. If you can't run, what can you do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't mind the the elements they had with free running in Halo 5, where you could like clamber over something. Like that wasn't too bad. Like that wasn't encroaching on gameplay. It's like if you run up to a barrier rather than having to just jump over it, you could like mount and climb over it. Like that was fine. It's like the Halo 5 armor abilities I think were okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was Halo Reach's style I wasn't a fan of. In terms of how the armor abilities worked, and it was Halo 4 kind of almost there, but not quite. Do you know what I mean? Then I think Halo 5, the movement and the way that your Spartan played was perfectly fine. Like that was the sweet spot because It didn't feel like Call of Duty. It still felt like Halo, but it just felt like your Spartan was a bit more agile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which they should be. They're not Terminator, you know, they're not robots.
Yeah.
I want to see environments. I want to see how the level design's going to be. I want to see a little bit of multiplayer. I want to see what the customization looks like. They might show us them customizing a Spartan. You know what I mean?
You're not sure too much of that.
No, they might just show what some of the armors are going to look like. As in, you might just see a couple of different armor variations in the multiplayer.
Oh, yeah, they're not sure too much of that because multiplayer spoilers.
It's true. I mean, they've said campaign, but they will probably. But the speculation is there'll be campaign and maybe a little multiplayer. Because it says
apparently you're going to be showing an a playable orbital level.
There's rumors of that, yeah. There's a lot of rumors, and that's what I mean. It's like I like the rumors, but I just want to know. I want to know what's actually going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
I would love another playable orbital level.
I think if they can pull it off right, they can do playable levels for like the Arbiter, as long as they focus mostly on Master Chief, which is again the whole point of Halo.
Yeah, but I think compared to a lot of people won't mind Orbiter stealing the show.
No, I wouldn't mind a single Locke mission if it's relevant. Like, you know, if you get to play as him for one part of a mission, like, oh, Locke's got to go and do this thing while Master Chief goes and does this other thing. You know what I mean? It's like, what would annoy me is if they just don't mention Locke again, because he was a big character in Halo 5. It's like we don't have to play as him, but he has to still exist in the universe. Do you know what I mean?
Not if you scrap the entire Halo 5 Guardian story.
Yeah, as far as I've been told, they're not scrapping it. They're moving away from it, but obviously, Cortana's still there as a, she's still, the whole events of Halo 5 still happened.
Yeah, but the trailer is hinting that she's fixable.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's like I don't think that'd be a bad thing. I think that they could try and do that, especially with the because obviously he's still he's still got the AI chip. You know what I mean? He's still, which means that there's still obviously Cortana's going to be involved, but obviously, and the Banished are. I want to see as well, because of the lore around the installation they're on as well. There's potential for the Flood, because the Master Builder had his quote unquote Palace of Pain on that ring in the lore, and the Master Builder kept Flood living Flood samples there, which to me would say the Flood could be loose on that ring, or at least present on the ring. I just killed myself with a grenade by mistake.
Of course you did.
When you try and throw it up the grav lift and it misses and bounces back in your face. And it's like the thing is that I'd like to see, there's like, I need to see the cast of characters. Like I didn't dislike Fireteam Osiris, for example. I'd like to see them still exist, like even if they're just with you on a mission. Like Buck, there's nothing wrong with Buck. Buck's a fan favorite, right? So people love Buck as a character. So I think it would be a waste to just write them out of the story, because I think there's still, even though there was a bit of a sour taste because there was a lot of Osiris in 5, I would still like to see them involved in some way, whether it's just they are present and they're doing their own stuff and you sort of bump into them on missions, or they're helping Master Chief, or whatever. It's like I'd like to see Blue Team again. You know what I mean? And I think we will see Blue Team again, because I think there's been some released figures and there's some Blue Team figures in there or something. I can't remember, but I'd like to see Blue Team still, because I liked Blue Team. Again, it's just how they do it. It's not so much which characters are in it, it's how those are pulled off, because I don't want them to shoehorn anybody in, but I also don't want them to waste characters. In terms of, they really could have done more with Osiris that didn't involve playing as them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with not playing as them. But I'm also, people are like, oh, get rid of them completely. I'm like, I don't really think that's fair because they are part of the lore now.
Yeah.
So to get rid of them would be like kind of like, well, people are going to go, well, what happened to Osiris then? Where are they? It's like, is there going to be any tie-offs like in the lore? What are they doing? You know, they were present with Master Chief on Sanghelios at the end of Halo 5.
Yeah.
Locke, Chief, Osiris, and Blue Team all arrived at the same time to meet Dr. Halsey. We know from the lore that Dr. Halsey is creating the new suit of armor for Master Chief, supposedly, that we see, which would be cool to see her sort of making a new suit of armor on Sanghelios. I feel like that could be like a like a prologue part of the campaign.
Yeah.
Like you see her outfitting them. Maybe that'll explain. Maybe Osiris returned to the the Infinity, or they're looking for the Infinity or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that would be like, well, what are they doing? Where have they gone? Well, they're going to look for the Infinity, which is trying to running until they find a way to fight. Which I'd expect the Infinity to turn up sometime. Do you know what I mean?
It'll probably turn up in the Beyond.
Yeah, it's like I expect it to turn up because I expect it to turn up because, of course, the Infinity is the flagship of the UNSC. It's their biggest achievement, the Infinity.
You didn't pick up on what I did there, did you?
In the Beyond. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like dead?
No.
Beyond, I can't.
Think of the famous Toy Story line Buzz Lightyear says.
Oh, to Infinity and Beyond. Ah, god damn it. Okay, you got me there. All right. So, but I'd really like to see the UNSC Infinity. I think it needs to be there. It's quite good actually. It's like I think the Infinity does need to be there. Because the Infinity, there's nothing wrong with having the Infinity around. It's like it's like the UNSC's flagship. It's probably one of the only sort of big defenses that humanity's got left after Cortana EMP'd the planet. You know, so whether they've recovered from that or maybe they haven't, is there going to be a time jump? Is it taking place straight after Guardians? Is it like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we don't know. We don't know whether it's taking place after Guardians immediately, or whether it's like it's been 6 months or it's been a year or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I reckon they just gonna scrap the Halo 5 Guardian story due to how many complaints it had.
I think completely scrapping it would be a bad move. I think alluding to the fact, well, Cortana's still the bad guy, you know, right now. The Banished are involved, and the characters are all where they're meant to be. They don't have to allude to it too much. I think the Guardians should be present because they're how Cortana's policing the universe.
Yeah.
I just think they need to do it right. I think getting rid of them completely is a bad move, and the reason that's a bad move is because people are going to go, well, this doesn't make sense in the Halo continuity. Like, the continuity will be off. It's like, well, where are the Guardians? Where's Cortana? Where's Infinity? You know what I mean? Which, to me, if they don't acknowledge it, or don't allude to it, or don't explain it all, and write it out, or whether they've got to find some way to include it sensibly, because if they don't, they run the risk of making more complaints, because they're saying, well, this game doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like, in the lore, they've got to... I can't spell today. One of my friends getting into a debate on Facebook. How wonderful. Well, it's like it's one of them things where like one of my friends has told me about one of my other friends saying, "Oh, why is your friend saying this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not his dad." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not in a bad way. I'm just like, God. I'm like, ugh. So I'm gonna let him explain that one because it's like a little bit controversial. It's not like racist or anything. It's just a little bit like he's kind of been the devil's advocate, but not in a good way about something.
Alright.
Like, so this dude got attacked. It's like, because there's the whole police brutality thing going on in America at the minute.
Oh,
Yeah.
still about that.
Yeah, it's still going because the police are still being too violent with people. Like, it's not stopped. And the bottom line is that the police are going too far with the violence. Do you know what I mean? This video shows a guy who's in a wheelchair getting beaten and then arrested.
Yeah.
It's like the dude's in a wheelchair. What's going to do? Get up and kick you? Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not needed. It's not. He's not got a gun. He's not got a weapon. I think he's just protesting, right?
Yeah.
And so this other person said, "Yeah, well, what was the guy doing before the video took place? What was he saying? What did he deserve it?" I'm like, you don't beat up a guy in a wheelchair to arrest him, regardless of what he's done. It's like, what's he gonna do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying, oh, I don't know everything about it. I'm not educated enough on the particular subject of that video. But regardless, like, the dude's in a wheelchair. Come on. Do you know what I mean? There's an acceptable level of force that can be used by a police officer, and I think that in the States, the police tend to massively overstep it. I think
yeah.
I think it's too far. Like, when people are getting shot all the time and when people are getting beaten to death or someone's getting suffocated by a police officer, like, that's when it's going way, way, way too far. It's like, sure, arrest people, it's your job, but don't kill them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, unless someone's literally got a gun pointed to somebody else's head and it's the only choice is to kill them or an innocent person's going to die, you shouldn't be killing people. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard to work out. But anyway, long story short, this person's sort of been the devil's advocate in favour of the police, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna defend him on this one. I was gonna jump in and be like, okay guys, come on, but it's like, nah, actually, let's let him explain this one, because again, might be my friend, doesn't mean I agree with all of his opinions. But it's like, it's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's controversial, right? So, and everyone's got an opinion.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's got an opinion, right? And that's fine. But there's some things that just aren't okay. Do you know what I mean? There's some things that are just objectively wrong to do. It's like you don't hear anybody like going, "Oh, this guy." Okay, let's put it in another context. If it wasn't a police officer and it was just someone beating up a guy in a wheelchair before restraining him, and it wasn't a police officer, no one would be going, "Yeah, well, what was happening before that?" Do you know what I mean? No one would be saying that. Is the point I'm making?
Yeah.
So it's like, people still have human rights even if they've committed a crime. But I don't even know if this guy was committing a crime. I don't think he was, to be fair, based on what I'm seeing. Anyway, sidetracked, but. Long story short, political debates happening on Facebook, and it's like, I am so fed up of people arguing on the internet at this point. Like, there's so much negativity on the internet at the minute.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
It's like everyone's getting cancelled. There's controversial stuff coming out about everybody. I mean, sure, call people out who've done bad shit. That's fine, right? So if someone's been racist or someone's said something horrible, make them be accountable, because, if they've said it, they should have to justify it. You know what I mean? Like, if they've said it, they should be able to. You can't just let people get away with saying what they want if it's controversial. They've got to be able to. If they've got an opinion that's could be viewed as like offensive or racist in some ways, like, they've got to be able to back up that with some kind of logic, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise they just look like a massive racist. Is the point I'm making?
Yeah.
It's like if there's some logic behind what they're saying, I've got time to listen to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's just racism, I'm like, nah, mate. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, what I'm getting at there is that my friend's telling me that one of my friends is saying this, and I'm like, okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what do you want me to tell him to stop? I'm like, it's not my place. He's got a girlfriend who could tell him to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got a family who could tell him to stop. Like, why should I have to tell him? Not in a I don't care way, because I do care when people say things that aren't fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do care about that because I'm very much interested in sort of the right thing being done, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, whether that's just people not being a dick or whether it's people being able to speak their mind. Do you know, either way, I believe in freedom of speech, but I believe you should have to back up what you say. That's how I see it, right? So you can say literally anything you want, but you got to be willing to stand up and back it up.
Yeah.
Because if you say something that people don't agree with and someone asks you why you believe it, you can't get mad at people for asking why. And it's like, and this is what I mean. We've got a problem at the minute where everyone's got an opinion. Everyone. That's fine. But some people give their opinion where it's not wanted or not needed.
Yeah.
It's like, if there's something that shouldn't be up for debate and then someone says, well, actually, it's like, they've got to be able to at least explain why they've done that, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because, in a way, you're arguing... Just going to return to the lobby because I'm going to cut this part down for YouTube.